guys, this is Felicia Romero, and you are listening to the Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode on the Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast. We have our friend Felicia Romero in the house.
Yes.
How you doing?
Hello, I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
We're excited to have you here.
Yeah,
and we're in the Airbnb that we rented.
I'm liking. It's really nice, and you guys are close to kind of everything.
Yeah.
My alma mater, ASU, is like 5 minutes away, and then you're close to Scottsdale, so you guys are right in the mix of things.
Yeah, Chris picked a good location, so good job, Chris.
Yeah, I did.
Not too bad. So Felicia, this is round two. So
Yes.
we had you on our podcast maybe, I want to say like a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah, about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, we were looking
That's
back,
crazy.
it was like episode like in the 60s, and now we're like in the 150s.
Wow, so you guys are like pros now.
Still learning.
Well, now I can learn from you guys because I just launched a podcast too. So it's like, and now are you guys, I know when I launched my podcast now, I'm so much more aware of how people intro and the music they use and how they interview, and I just pay so much more attention to that. And I'm listening to podcasts constantly. I feel like now I listen to podcasts more than I read an actual book. I'm now listening to Audible or podcasts or whatever like that, just kind of really digesting that information.
Yeah.
And that's honestly where you're going to get like a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
I still get like ideas. I still write down questions that I hear. I'm like, oh, that's a great question I can just use for my show. So,
Right.
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to do great, and then we're going to hop on your show, and it's going to be awesome.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to be here.
Cool. So then also too, GSDCon is tomorrow and then Friday. So our friend Mike Arcee's event. So last year you spoke there. Are you speaking there tomorrow too?
I am speaking on Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Yeah, a whole
Cool.
different subject actually.
Okay.
So I really wanted to do, so last year at GSDCon, first year that they had the event, it's our friend Mike Arcee's event, and I talked about PR and how to, get published and get on the news without a big budget and without actually having to hire a PR firm, because that can get pretty pricey. And so a lot of people in there, so the audience and the people who are going are, gym owners and people who have a really limited marketing budget. So really giving them tips and tricks on how to really promote themselves in a very actionable way without spending a lot of money. And then, but this year, I'm going to touch on that a little bit because I feel like that's awesome, valuable information. But I'm going to really tackle the personal branding.
Nice.
So again, I was in that gym space for years. A lot of the audience there are gym owners, but I think a lot of gym owners get in trouble because they don't necessarily, and I hate to say backup plan, but they're not promoting themselves because they're so worried about the gym or wanting to really highlight the gym. And that's great. You can still highlight the gym and highlight yourself. Right. You know what I mean? Because then you can also venture off and do other things as well. For instance, in my case, I had a gym. I opened my first gym when I was 22. I was actually going to Arizona State, and I just literally did it right out of my home in my garage, right? Second gym, so I had a gym after that, which actual storefront was 1,500 square feet. My second gym after that was considerably bigger, and it was all, it was a type of space where trainers would come in and rent space. Right. And then my last gym that I just sold about a year and a half ago was membership based. Okay. So I really graduated with each gym. But if I didn't have a personal brand, those gyms would have closed down, or I would have stepped away from those ventures and then would have to start from scratch again with something else, So the awesome thing is that I was able to build my personal brand. It helped myself, but it also helped promote the gyms. And I could fall back and do other things as well. Exactly. I could do coaching online. I could do, conferences and talk about PR, versus them hiring the gym. So personal brand is so important.
Oh yeah. It's irreplaceable. I mean, you'll never be replaced, with your personal brand. It just opens up so many different doors and opportunities for the future.
Right. Well, look, if you even look at our friend Mike Arcee, his company Loud Groomer, which is an amazing fitness marketing company, he has had to also brand himself, and he's been really pushing hard on branding his Mike Arcee brand, and which is super smart, because then he's able to do other things. He's able to follow and get other sources of revenue in different ways. So it's just it's a positive thing, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to that. It's a good topic.
Yeah.
We'll be taking notes for sure.
Oh, for sure. Awesome.
So I mentioned that it was like about a year and a half ago since you were on our show. So fill us in, just kind of what's been going on in your life, like some highlights, lessons learned.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So a year and a half. It is so crazy how much can happen in a year and a half, right? So I'm engaged.
Nice.
Congrats. Thank you. I got engaged over Christmas time, and with my we've been together now 2 years. but we were actually high school sweethearts.
Okay.
So we dated in high school. He was my first boyfriend. We dated for like 4 years in high school. And then obviously, you know, I was, 18, 19 at the time, my first year at Arizona State. And you just grow apart, you know what I mean? He's 2 years older than me, and we didn't really break up on bad terms. It was just, you're young and you grow apart. So didn't have any contact for 17 years. And then just by chance, a family member of his became a member at the gym that I owned. And she brought him up. She's like, hey, you used to date my cousin, you know, Keith. And I was like, oh, really? Like, how is he doing? You know, so we reconnected. And I think she was secretly trying to set us up again. You know, so we reconnected. When we met again for that first dinner back, I just thought, look, you know, a friend just catching up. And we've been inseparable ever since. So, yeah, and he has a son who's 4. So I'm kind of like that Insta parent. Yeah. Insta, you know, and then now we're engaged and we're building a home. So, and I'm all about seasons in life. So, you know, I've had those seasons in life where I was that hustler, like, and I, for whatever reason, just wanted to just be known as that, like, oh, you're doing it all, Felicia. Mm-hmm. And then when I sold my gym, I went through this little period, because I think around the time that we were chatting a year and a half ago, I was kind of coming to the end of that, right?
You were. I remember that now, yeah.
And I went through, like, I remember after that time, I went through a little depression. Okay. And just feeling down on myself. And I think because I was that always so focused on my career and business, and then to really, you know, change those efforts and that energy towards building a solid relationship, I didn't know how to do that. Yeah. You know, I didn't know. I was always that person that was always growing something, building something, starting something, you know, whatever it may be when it came to business. That was really tough for me. So I did battle some depression and just sort of those lost feelings for a little bit until I sort of found my way again, which I did find my way. But you know, and you do, and that's where I'm like, you know what, we all have different seasons in life, and I probably hit all the seasons the last year and a half that we have not spoke, from selling the biz to the depression, and Keith really, you know, supporting me through that, and family supporting me through that, and just kind of letting me find my way to, again, working on self-development and growth, hiring coaches, joining masterminds and mentorships, and getting stuff done again. But again, giving myself grace to know that, you know, I may not be able to do the things I used to do, and that's okay. You know, and that's okay. It's a different season in life. I don't need to push as hard. You know, I still have all of these aspirations that I want to do, but I can be a little bit easier on myself, and that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, like, so I love that whole thing with the seasons in life, because I think it's so true. So if you look at like the whole year in advance, starting from January to December, is that how you kind of break it up, like in seasons? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily say seasons like you know, like I would say metaphorically, winter, fall, you know, summer, whatever. So if we were thinking metaphorically, let's say we have that season where I am like really focused on family life. I'm focused on establishing that relationship with his son, being there, being present. Because if I wanted to, I could work all day. I could be at my computer. I'm sure you guys too. There's always something to edit. There's always something content to write. There's always an email to respond to. There's always like the next idea. Oh, I need to create a lead magnet because I need to do this, this, and this. And then, you know, there's always something if you don't stop yourself, right? So I could easily work from the morning until Keith comes home, till bedtime at my computer still. But my season was, especially this last year, now, don't get me wrong, in this last year I've been able to build a 6-figure online training business, but I've also learned to really integrate that balance. So, meaning for me, sometimes the season is push, 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 and then I give myself some grace, like, hey, now I'm going to spend this time right now, and I'm really not feeling creative, and I'm not feeling authentic in what I'm putting out there, then I'm just going to like take that time to put my time into family. That's and fair. Into building a relationship with his son, and you know, making sure that Keith and I have a solid relationship, because we had some issues too. You know, I'm super independent, and I sometimes just do things without really, not that I need to ask for permission, but I'll just like do these things without really consulting with him or somebody, and just know like, hey, I have a partner now. We talk about things, and I need to bring him into my life. Right. You know what I mean? Because I'm so used to making decisions pretty quickly that now I have to kind of sit back and say, hey, Keith, what do you think of this? You know, like really including him in my life, because I never had that before, and that person who was super supportive. So yeah, so that's kind of what I mean by seasons. You know, you have that season where you feel so inspired, so creative, super just hustle mode. You're like, man, I want to do this, this, and this. And then you have those times where you're like, I don't feel creative right now. I don't really feel like taking clients.
Yeah.
You know, I need this time for me to really just, because when you give yourself that reset, I think that's why vacations are so important.
Yeah.
When you give yourself that reset, you come back strong and you come back ready to give yourself, right? So
I'm really, just really quick, I'm glad you touched up on that, just because it's really cool to hear that, and like just the fact that you're aware of that. And so many entrepreneurs aren't aware of that. Right? They're just in that mode where it's like they have to keep going and keep pushing. And like you said, it's just like if you're not being creative, you're not in that creative mode, then it's like you're almost doing yourself a disservice and your audience, because you're not thinking creatively and efficiently, and really using your powers to do that. So and then also too the FOMO effect, right? It's like you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna take like a week off of creating content or posting. It's like, oh my god, the world's gonna end. And it's not. Nothing's gonna happen.
You feel like, and I went through this because so I come from the space of constantly competing. So I was always competing, always stepping on stage, always chasing that trophy, or in fact winning, right? Always going to Olympia, getting work. So let's say even magazine work. I was on the cover of 8 magazine covers, Oxygen and Flex, and I was always in that space, like, if I slow down, I'm going to become irrelevant, And I think the older I've gotten, I think just you wisen up and you become smarter, that stuff isn't important anymore. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Like, you know what? If I get another magazine cover, that would be awesome. But am I defining my worth by that? Absolutely not. If I take some space, or if I'm not working out as hard, or if I'm not quote unquote dieting, that's okay. I don't have to be in that space anymore to know my worth and to know that, I am doing what I need to do, So I totally agree with you. I feel like a lot of ladies especially start to feel like they're going to become irrelevant, or they're afraid to slow down, or not make money, or whatever it might be. And so I've been able to recognize that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's huge. Thanks for sharing the seasons. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So in this past year and a half, like one thing that you have done too is you started your podcast, right? The Diet Dropout Podcast, which is awesome. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
So who is this podcast for? And then like really what prompted you to actually start this podcast?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This podcast, and I actually have a name for her. Her name is Heather. And this is who that is for. It's that literally I've been on thousands of calls over the last 2 years, right? Online coaching calls, things like that, with this same girl. It's the girl that really struggles. She wants so badly to find that balance in her life. And when I say balance, I'm not like, okay, you need to balance your work, and you're just more like that healthy relationship with herself and healthy relationship with food. Because if I were to put myself back there to that Heather years ago, I was binge eating every couple days. I was constantly thinking, oh, I can't go meet those friends because what about if I have some nachos? I'm going to gain weight. Walking through the grocery store thinking about all the things I wanted to eat, and really like asking myself, oh my God, am I ever going to have a normal relationship with food? To that person who's thrown food away only to take it out of the trash and eat it. I've done all those things, you know what I mean? So that Heather, and it's crazy because I had a episode launched this week about, really how to get over food guilt. And so many ladies reached out to me and said, oh my gosh, Felicia, like you've thrown cupcakes away and you've taken them out of the trash. I have too, with cookies or with a piece of cake or whatever it might be. And it was crazy, like when you're really speaking to that person that you were, that Heather, that whoever you're, that person that, you're talking to, you'd be surprised how many people come out and just like, man, thank you for sharing. That is me too. But again, really coming back to that diet space, I don't diet anymore. I'm not a dieter. I eat healthy. I'm very conscious and mindful about what I put in my body, but I'm not strict by any means. But I want to feel good and I want to be healthy. So there's that. There's that. But also, I don't feel strongly about diets anymore. So what Diet Dropout to me isn't necessarily like going to be all of you about food and nutrition. I want it to be about everything from, healthy lifestyle to healthy mindset to even, when it comes to business, because there's only so much that people want to hear when it comes to the word diet, right? And I really want it to be more than that. It's really a movement for me to say, hey, I'm no longer controlled by this. There's so much life to be lived out there versus like worrying about what I'm going to have for dinner and worrying that this slice of pizza is going to make me gain 5 pounds. Like there's so much life to live. And I want women to experience that too and not be controlled by the scale or be controlled by feeling unworthy because they're not a certain size.
I love that. And that's one of the things I remember we talked about too, about just having that whole like balance and holistic view within like your fitness journey, right? Too many people put fitness on a pedestal.
Right.
They're constantly looking at trying to chase that body image, right? But it's like, why not sit there and chase the six-pack in the mind too?
Yeah.
And then your career, your adventure, your experiences in life, and just use it as a part of your life, not your entire life. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that is so important. You know, I'm a firm advocate of that. That's one of the reasons why I feel like I'm transitioning out of health coaching and helping that end consumer, because a lot of times, again, I'm on that phone with that Heather and talking to her, and I'm like, Heather, you don't need another meal plan for me.
Right.
You need some time off. You need to stop the yo-yo dieting and really just take care of yourself mentally. The goals will come. I think goals are great. So I don't ever want to contradict the goals, because I think having goals or wanting to look a certain way is totally fine. I think that's totally normal, and there's different ways to go about it, but it's the journey of those goals.
Yeah.
How are you getting to that goal, right? Are you killing yourself? Are you doing things that you don't want to do? Are you eating things that you don't want to eat, and you're always thinking about the things that you want to eat? If you're not enjoying the process, it's not going to be sustainable. You know, It's not going to be something you can do long term, and it's just going to set you up for failure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, I'm all for goals. I want to look good. I want to feel good. But again, what is your journey to get there?
Absolutely.
You know, and I had a post, about a month ago, about just forgetting the rules. You know, and really just thinking, okay. And when we talk about this, like, what rules are you living by? I know for me, when I competed, I thought the only way I could get lean was eat tilapia all day and do fasted cardio for an hour, no carbs after 6. Those are the rules I live by. Number 1, I hate tilapia. Number 2, I do not like to wake up at 5 in the morning to do cardio before my day starts. I just don't like it. I'd rather, now, the Felicia now wants to sleep.
Yeah.
And number 3, it doesn't matter when you eat carbs. It's your total caloric intake for the day, right? So I did all of these things that I, quote unquote, thought I had to do to get lean. Didn't like any of it. So really just forgetting those food rules and really getting back to what is it that you love, you know? Make sure you include some nutrition, make sure you include some activity, but find something you love and stick to it.
I love that.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
No, that's cool too. I'm just that makes me happy to hear that though. Like, just now that you break down like the big why behind the podcast, just because you have the audience,
Right.
And it's like people want to hear you, you
Right.
know, and they, you know, it's like the podcasting platform. It's like people can multitask pretty much. It's like drive, you know, just hang out. I mean, there's so many different avenues, and it's just podcast is getting bigger and bigger to where it's like I think you're going to influence a lot of people through your podcast.
Oh, thank
so
you.
congrats on that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was one of those things where I actually sat on it and procrastinated for a little less than a year. And I was like, Felicia, why are you limiting yourself? Why are you holding yourself back? There are people that want to listen to you. And I had to finally get to that point where I was like, you know what, even if it's just one person that listens, then it's worth it. You know what I mean? Because for me, it was a self-limiting belief. Number 1, I was making excuses flat out, like, oh, do I have time for this? No, I'm not going to have time for this. I don't have time. You know what I mean? So I was making excuses because we all have time. It's what you prioritize. And number 2, I was worried that no one would listen, or how was I going to sound? And all of those things will just keep us back from really accomplishing the things that we want, you know? So I had to really get over that. Hired a coach, our mutual friend, Travis Chappell.
Great guy.
And he's awesome. He really helped me get the podcast up and running, and here we are. So it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, as I was coming here, I was actually I'm listening to podcasts all the time, but sometimes when I drive, I listen to true crime podcasts.
Okay.
So it's kind of like my secret obsession for some reason, even though like it makes me like scared, you know, I like freak out, like everyone's a killer, but I just love true crime podcasts. Yeah.
You have to check that one out.
Yeah.
You know, I can relate with a lot of your, like, you know, your self-doubt and just worries about, you know, before getting to the podcast game, because it took us a while too to just hit that launch button because of all those worries too. So it's definitely normal.
Oh yeah. I know we were talking about before we got on today. I recorded my first ever episode. I recorded and deleted probably 5 times. Yeah. And I finally had to just get over that as well. So, yeah.
Okay, also too, so you got your real estate license.
I did.
Woo!
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to tell us more about this. What's going on with the real estate game?
Okay, so the real estate, so again, this was late last year, so I got my license, maybe October, November.
Okay.
So not that long ago. And my fiance is really into real estate. We're actually going to brain dump pretty soon, but we're going to sit and I'm just going to have him give me all the info because I want to create a course for him for investing, especially for young people, because he started investing when he was 20. He's 38 now. Mm-hmm. He owns about 5 homes.
Nice.
They're all rentals. Nice. And then the house we're in now, he owns and completely paid off. he's so knowledgeable in the space. And so, you know, when we were actually looking for a house, and I was like, you know what, the housing market's kind of iffy right now. Let me just go get my real estate license. You know, it's so, I don't want to say easy to get, but, you know, it's an easier process. It's not a ton of time. I was in school, or you got to, you know, do a total of 18 classes, or I forgot how many hours that is, but it took me about 4 months. Then you take the test. But I really did it for us. Yeah. So our own personal real estate, even in our house now, we were able to save about $35,000 just in commission to put to the house. So not only were we using that for closing costs, but we used it for some of the upgrades as well, because we're building a house. So, you know, it's been really nice. And so helping family and friends, help his own personal real estate, and just kind of keep that in the house. So that's one of the reasons why I did it.
That's awesome. And honestly, I mean, that's the way to go. Like real estate, like, I mean, just long-term, just like creating wealth, like residual.
Absolutely. I mean, and we have our own goals as well. So like after we get this house, and, you know, we're in it for about a year, we want to go in together on a home and get a rental going. And he's so knowledgeable in that rental space. He knows what to look for, the good deals. He knows the perfect rental. He's super well equipped with the stock market. Like, he's just a very knowledgeable person when it comes to investing in money. But he's so quiet and shy. So now I'm like,
where you come in.
That's where I come in. Like, you know what? I'm going to help you create the residual. I want a little kickback because I'm using my following. Just kidding. But I'm going to help him kind of put that into an online course. So, and it's so amazing, so valuable, because he knows his stuff. So
it's really cool. Keep pushing him.
Yeah. Oh,
and if I ever need real estate advice, I'm coming to you.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Cool, Something I liked what you did in your Instagram lately. You did like a post where it was like kind of like a get to know Felicia, your new followers. And one of the things that stood out was that you said that you deal with anxiety in the morning, and you said that you have a strong morning ritual that kind of calms that. So do you mind kind of sharing like what the anxiety is and how that morning routine actually like kind of calms that for other people?
Yeah, I can't really say where my anxiety stems from. I definitely overthink. So I feel like, especially if I sleep in too late in the morning, I'm really afraid that I'm going to miss out on something. Or and then what I've learned too is to not check emails first thing in the morning. For me, whatever reason, and I don't know if it was just the past or because I've had a lot of ups and downs over my journey, but the feeling that everything is negative. Like, if I get an email, is it negative? If a client texts me, oh my gosh, is something wrong? Like, did I do something wrong? You know, for whatever reason, my mind instantly goes to a negative place. So in the morning when I would get up, it was almost this like fear to sort of face my day. And I don't know where it stemmed from, but it kind of goes in and out. And so what I really noticed for me in the morning is I've changed, even like my alarm isn't like this really glaring, annoying alarm. It's one that's just very subtle. It increases with, you know, the sound as it goes on. Also too, not reading emails first thing in the morning has really helped me. I actually am up for a full hour where I take the dogs out. The dogs really calm me. So take the dogs out, sit with them outside. I love being out in nature. So the first hour is really me just, you know, taking my supplements, vitamins, water, sitting out with the dogs, picking up around the house, because again, we have a 4-year-old. So, you know, just really kind of creating that space. And then after that hour of waking up, and I get up about, I would say 6 o'clock, 6:30, and then around 7:30, 8 is when I get into the day, where I start to look at email, start to update clients, and really just kind of get into that space. I do plan the night before. That's another thing that has really helped me as well. So again, really back to podcasts is, you know, I've been listening to so many podcasts lately, and I would say some of the things that I've learned over this last year is just really having a plan for the next day. I felt that a lot of my anxiety also stemmed from inaction. So you know how when you know you want to do things, you know you want to get things done, but then you feel so overwhelmed that you don't get anything done, actually leads to more anxiety because you're like, God, you keep telling yourself you got to finish these things. So what's really helped me with that is to just time block the night before. I jot down, hey, from 9 to noon, working on all client stuff, you know. And then obviously time block for food and things like that, but I have specific days that I do things, and that has really helped me tremendously, because I feel like when I don't know what I'm doing, and I was always, so even like when I had my gym, I knew what I was doing. I was getting up, I was going down to my gym, and I was there from 7 or 8 in the morning all the way till closing. So that was my day, right? And I did things at the gym in between that time, but I knew what I was doing. So I find that a lot of ladies especially, they need that routine.
Yeah.
Routine is so crucial. And when I think that's where a lot of my depression stemmed from as well, post, selling the gym, that I didn't know how to, I guess, kind of design my day.
Yeah, and you were always used to probably going to the gym,
yeah,
or just your whole day in life was centered around that.
Yeah, and so when that changed, it just developed that depression, that anxiety. But again, I've had anxiety ever since I could remember high school.
Yeah.
I always felt this pressure that I had to get things done. So I remember in high school, I was like, oh, I got to go to college. What about if I don't go to college? I'm always like, and anxiety comes from thinking too much about the future, right? So that was me for a long time. My mom even has stories of me as a kid, like breathing into a plastic bag to try to calm me. So it's always been a part of me. So I wouldn't say that even my anxiety now, I don't even look at it as this negative thing, because it doesn't really cause me a ton of stress.
Yeah.
But I recognize it.
Yeah, you're aware.
I'm aware. I know how to handle it and deal with it. And sometimes I just have to kind of roll with it as well, you know? And then it passes. But I do feel like taking action really starts to, I guess, conquer that anxiety.
Yeah,
So anybody out there
agree.
that's listening, if you feel, this overwhelmed feeling or anxiety or just like not sure what to do, take action in something. Pick one thing, and just go after it and get it done.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I'm glad
absolutely.
it's gotten a lot better too.
Yeah, it absolutely has gotten better.
Let's talk a little bit about sacrifice.
Yes.
So I know you sacrificed a lot.
Mhm.
You're very successful. You're
Mhm.
still probably just getting started with where you want to go.
Mhm.
You have a background like in figure competing, all that stuff. So you've sacrificed a lot.
Mhm.
Where you're at currently now, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually in your life,
Mhm.
what are you willing to sacrifice for a cost? And what I mean by that is, let's say we use an analogy of pro boxers.
Okay.
So they're talented. They get the shit beaten out of themselves. They
Mhm.
make a lot of money.
Mhm.
But that cost is always long-term effects, like maybe brain damage or something mental. So what are you willing to sacrifice for a cost going forward in life?
That's tough. I had to really think about it, because I would say that this is something that I haven't necessarily been focused on, but I'm willing to sacrifice, especially now, to really get the things that I want to work on, because I have goals. Like I have financial goals. I have, goals for Keith and I, and for me, I would be willing to sacrifice time right now, because again, allowing myself over the last year and a half to kind of take it easy, still build. So the thing is, I've been able to build a 6-figure income on online training, but I'm not even working in the capacity that I could.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think about that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not even working nearly as much as I could. I mean, I'm working, but I'm not really working. So I feel like for me now, I'm starting to get that oomph back again, and that, with these ideas starting to stream and things that I really want to push forward. So time.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Gotcha.
I would say that I, kind of allowed myself to sort of, sit back a little bit, kind of observe, kind of watch, sleep in a little bit when I could, or, just take that time. So now for me, it would be that.
Yeah. Cool.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
How do you deal with basically the dark side of entrepreneurism?
Yeah. Now, how would you label dark side?
So I would say dark side, like the emotional roller coaster, which a lot of
Oh.
people, they think that, entrepreneurism is like sunshine and rainbows, work for myself, make my own money, but they don't realize that shit comes with a lot of ups and downs, you know what I mean? So how do you deal with
that's
that?
a good question. What I've noticed with that, because I feel like entrepreneurship can feel like a very lonely road.
Yep.
You guys are lucky because you have each other. That's where I was like, you know what? Surround yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah.
I think tribes are important. I feel like, sorry, I just hiccuped. I feel like tribes are important, surrounding yourself, because you get motivated when you're around those people that are doing things you aspire to want to do. That is inspiring. So, if you're feeling down with your entrepreneurship, journey, and you're just feeling alone, surround yourself with other women, other men that are doing what you want to do. Become friends with them, reach out to them. People are so afraid to reach out.
Yeah.
I feel like, and our friend again, Travis, talks about this, networking is so key in really creating those relationships. And I've been able to do that this year, really create relationships with women that I admire, people that I admire, and I would say that would really help, conquer that dark side, the, maybe the self-doubt side, or, oh, things aren't working out. Because when we sit in that space of negativity within ourselves, because we'll always think about the things that aren't working, or, oh man, that didn't work, or man, I lost money on that, or lost time on that. But when you are around people that are inspiring, that are killing the game, that are full of ideas and full of energy, it only rubs off on you. Absolutely. And it makes you that much more hungry. You're like, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know that they failed, so it's they know how to handle that adversity.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. And then it makes it easier to get through when you've seen also the things they've gone through and how they've overcome it. It makes it easier for you to overcome. You know what I mean? And I think I'm all about educating yourself. Getting yourself with a coach, a mentor, an accountability partner. I'm all for that because I feel like for me, that's how I've been able to really step up my game, is having a coach by my side. I love when a coach gives me tasks and homework. I don't want to let them down. But then again, I'd probably sit on my hands for a couple more months if I didn't hire this coach. It's just the process will be sped along a lot quicker when you have those people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time where you feel successful on paper, but then you feel like a failure inside?
Oh yeah, all the time. I feel like every day I have imposter syndrome, I would say once or twice a week, where, and then again, I even just wrote a post about this recently. Afraid, like I was just telling you about the lady that I wanted to reach out to for my podcast, Kelly LeVeque. She's a nutritionist to the stars. Like she has freaking Jessica Alba on speed dial, right? Jennifer Garner on speed dial. And she was just on the Today Show. And, before I probably would have reached out to her a lot sooner, but the whole who am I? Yeah. Who is she going to want to talk to me? But then again, I reached out and she said, yeah, Felicia, I would love to chat with you. You know what I mean? So a lot of times you just, again, being around people that are so supportive, that will talk you up and just really give you that faith in yourself. But absolutely, I have felt that. And I still do. No matter what I've done, I can tell you and list off the accolades or whatever it might be, but inside you still feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, or, and that's where it's just like, you just got to keep your head down, keep pushing forward, and just believe in yourself. I know easier said than done, but the more that you take action, that's where I'm just a firm believer in action. I believe action creates this momentum, right? Creates amazing opportunity, because we're never going to get that opportunity if we don't take action.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I love that. And I can relate with that too. Like just reaching out to people for our podcast and stuff, especially starting off. It's like you want these big name people on, but then you're like, shit, it's like, who am I to ask these people? It's like, why would they say yes?
I don't have the numbers.
Exactly. I don't have the social media numbers, like blah blah blah. And it's just like you have to get over that.
Yeah.
And like Chris, he's a good support system for that, because he would be the opposite and be like, who gives a shit? Like just if they say no, we'll just keep hitting them again and just like be annoying and this and that. It's like, it's true. It's like, why should it matter?
Yeah. And even if they say no then, it just might not be no right then at that time.
Can't take it personal.
You know what I mean? It's just they might have something going on, because I'm all for boundaries and being able to really speak your truth. Like if it's, you don't have time, or if you have something else you're focusing on, that's okay. Just be honest with me. I don't want to do something or force you to do something you don't want to do. Right? So I think boundaries are absolutely amazing. But the no might be just no, not right now. Maybe in the future. Exactly. So absolutely, I've had to get over that too. And more likely than not, people, that's what I love about the podcasting, is it's such an amazing platform, and I feel like it really is an amazing conversation starter and allows you to actually have access to those people. Because you're like, hey, guess what? I would love for you to come on. You know what I mean? And if you are providing that value for them, you're going to have access to all my clients. If you want to promote your book or if you want to promote your program, please do. You're only helping, you're not hurting them in any way. You know what I mean?
And then just don't ask for anything in returon. Just be that giver.
Be that person
provide that
gives.
platform for them, and just let them do their thing.
Yeah, that's why I have really loved it. And I love giveaways. I love letting my followers get involved. So, say, hey, if you leave a review or if you leave a like, I'm going to give 5 books away that Kelly just wrote, or Dr. Christensen. I had a thyroid doctor on, who's an amazing doctor who really helped me with my thyroid journey. He wrote them. He's the best New York Times bestselling author, and I'm like, I'm going to give some books away. You know what I mean? Let's make this fun. This doesn't have to be. There are no rules, right? You do what you want with it, and you have fun with it.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, making it fun and making it fun for the listener.
Yeah, absolutely.
So every morning, we all pretty much wake up, look in the mirror, whether we splash our face, brush our teeth, right? Let's say there's basically 6 months left in the year,
right?
And you get one Post-it note to look on, to have it on the mirror, and we call that an accountability Post-it note. What do you need to sit there and hold yourself accountable, one thing for these next 6 months, and look at that accountability Post-it note every single day?
For me, I would say recently is the accountability. I would say Can it, like, when you say that, like, give me an example of yours. Like, what would that be?
So for me, I would say stop worrying about money. Stop
Okay.
putting money on this like
Okay.
pedestal like it's going to make me
Okay,
happy.
so I wasn't sure if you wanted an affirmation or not, because
It could be anything.
I'm
Sure.
right there with you. For me, it's stop the distraction. So I get distracted easily. So like, again, that's why time blocking is so important for me in planning my day out, because I'm like the dog and the squirrel, right? Squirrel, oh, what's over here? I'm gonna come over here and, you know, start working on this. Oh wait, I gotta get this done over here. You know, it's like I'm easily distracted. And so, which is why now I rent an office space, like a co-working space
Nice,
for women,
nice.
because at home I get distracted.
Yeah, same here.
You know, and so for me, it would be, the Post-it note would read loud and clear, stop the distractions, Felicia, get focused. So.
Yeah, it's just, I think that's one thing so many people overlook today is just that level of focus. And if you're able to get focused, like you said, just even block out time and just be productive, even for like 2-3 hours like of deep work, you could get so much done.
So much done. So much done. I have literally, and again, our good friend Mike RC can attest to this. He wanted to get his Fitness Secrets book done. Do you guys know his story?
Yeah, we read it. It was
Yeah,
good. Little pocket book?
Yeah, the little pocket
Yeah.
book. Did he tell you the story on how he got that done?
No.
Okay, so again, he is a great planner, and I hope he likes me talking about him right now, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind. But he gets stuff done. I mean, his whole GSD, right?
Right.
Get SHIT done. So I don't know if there's an explicit podcast
Yeah,
about
you can say it.
clean. But yeah, he GSDs every day. But he also really, I feel like he really prides himself, like he really kind of waits to the last minute because he likes the pressure.
Yeah.
So he told me this story about how he got that Fitness Secrets book done. And he just rented a hotel room for the day. I think it was up north. He drove up north. He stayed in that room the whole day. He knocked that Fitness Secrets book out, right?
Damn.
That whole day. So I don't know how many times, because the only reason I bring up Mike, because he's coached me for years. You know, he's been a great mentor of mine. And he wanted me to get something done, some sort of content, or he's like, hey, just rent a room, sit in there, 6-7 hours, knock it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, really? I'm like, you know what I mean? You'd be surprised once you're really focused. Take out all the distractions of the phone, of the home life. You're in maybe an environment you're not sure of, you know, like a hotel or something you're not comfortable in. You're just there as a visitor. You'd be shocked at what you can get done.
Yeah.
So, and Mike is a perfect example of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's funny really quick, I was going to say, before you move on in, he put on GSDCon last year in 29 days, he told us.
Oh,
when
yeah.
we interviewed him.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
He's
you gotta
crazy.
be fucking kidding me. 29 days?
Is
Like,
crazy.
yeah.
He loves pressure.
Yeah.
And he gets it done. He gets it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's such a great little ninja tip. Just like literally go rent a hotel somewhere
Yeah.
because you're gonna get it done.
You'll
You
get it
just
done.
Turn your phone off. I mean, I think I've read that somewhere where like old school writers used to do that. They'd
Yeah.
go like to a cabin, take a typewriter or something, and then they would just get it done.
Yeah, just do it. Yeah, like even like with time blocking or batching, let's say content, you know, any of the realtors out here, I'm sure you guys have a lot of people that own businesses that that listen to you. But time blocking and batching your content for the week, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if you run a Facebook group and you feel overwhelmed by it, but you're thinking about what to post every Monday that day, of course you're gonna feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You know, hey, take that Sunday night and maybe have content ready for the next 5 Mondays.
Exactly.
And write that down, schedule it out, and then you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Pick a day once a month to get that going so you're not doing it every single week. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And same thing goes with podcasting, you know, batching a couple of episodes. So you're not doing it last minute and then something happens and your computer crashes and you're like, oh, I can't do this today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's always something, but I'm a firm advocate of that. It really does help.
Yeah, and we batched up 5 interviews in
Yeah.
the last 2 days.
Oh,
so
that's
that's like
great.
2 months worth right there. That's
Yeah.
done. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
So,
don't have to worry about it.
Great point.
Right, and then you're less stressed, right?
Exactly.
The little weight lifted off your
Yeah.
shoulders, and then you can spend time doing other things that are gonna move the needle for your guys' business.
Yeah, and he's
so.
he's not barking in my ear.
Right, so he's the one that he's like are you the?
I'm like the one that's like, God damn it, like let's do it right now.
Yeah.
Kind of complain a lot, but it's like I'm just all about just like let's get it done too.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like,
It's like, dude,
Right.
chill out, Chris, chill out. Chill out.
it's gonna happen.
It's okay. It's okay.
Don't worry. Yeah.
I love it. Oh,
So Felicia, finish this sentence.
Okay.
The world needs more of
compassion.
compassion. How come?
Because I feel like, especially now, I'm actually a political science major, so I got my undergrad in political science from Arizona State, and I feel like there's just a lot of contention in the world right now, and I'm not going to talk politics or anything, but I feel like there's just a lot of segregation and a lot of like far left, far right, black and white, you know, just like, oh, if you don't believe in that, I feel like there's not enough kindness and compassion in the world, you know, to really just sit back and see where someone else is coming from. We're all so quick to defend or attack. And I would just love to see a more compassionate world. Like, a couple weeks ago, I was in a line at Starbucks, and it was a Starbucks I've never really gone to. It was in Scottsdale here, and I was running some errands. Like, oh, I'm just going to stop in here and get something. And the way that the parking, the drive-through was designed, it was kind of confusing. Right. So there was a truck, and it wasn't even near the drive-through line. It was like, he looked like he was waiting for someone in Starbucks. That's the way it looked. So I was like, oh, okay, he's probably waiting for somebody, the way he's sitting. So I just drive up, and I pull right into the driveway. So he is just like honking at me. He actually gets out of his car and comes to my window, and I'm literally like, I actually was listening to a podcast, and then all of a sudden he's like knocking at my window, and I jump, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, what's going on? He's like, didn't you see I was in line? And he's yelling at me, like yelling, and I was like shaking because that was like very attacking, you know, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Like, you look like you were waiting for somebody, like immediately attack, right? All because of like one car in line. Yeah. You know, if that would have happened and I was waiting, I would have probably just been like, well, maybe he's in a hurry. I'm going to let him go. Like, my thought process would have been totally different with that, right? Yeah. But he's like attacking me, and I'm like apologizing. I'm so sorry. I really thought you were waiting for somebody, you know, and you know, he's all like pissed off, all because of one line or one person in line, right? So I get to the window, and I was like, you know what? He sounds like he's having a bad day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if he has that much anger inside of him because of one car, I'm going to get his coffee and his food. So, you know, I paid for his. I'm just going to take care of the person behind me. And if we just, I could have let that whole situation just kind of ruin my morning and just kind of make me feel But I was like, you know what? I was able to switch that around in my head and not take it personally. Yeah. Buy his breakfast and move on with my day. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like, we just need more compassion in the world. Yeah. You know, like that whole situation could have gone completely different. Yeah. You know, like, and he probably wouldn't have his cortisol levels rise. He's like on the verge of a heart attack because he's yelling at me. Like, that can totally be different. You can, handle that differently. And again, there's times when, maybe we do have to be a little angry or whatever, but just pick your battles. But I feel like if we all had more compassion, this would be a different world.
Yeah. I agree. And thanks for sharing that story. Then first and foremost, that guy's a jerk.
Yeah, right. But I was so scared. I was like, I jumped, and I'm not just like listening to a podcast, minding my business in the morning, and he's like pounding on my window, and I'm like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, right? But it's a clear example of like, and I try to tell people this too, like even to some of my inner circle students, I'm like, be the problem solver. Don't be the person playing the victim role. I know it's hard to do, right? But you could have easily played that victim role. Right. But you chose to be the problem solver. Yeah. And you even comped that guy with his like Starbucks, which is really awesome. Nice. Yeah. So problem solved. Yeah. And you took care of it. He was probably floored. Yeah. And he'll never thank you for that, but he was probably floored, and he was just like, whoa, like I am a jerk.
Yeah. Exactly. You know what I mean? I think you start to think twice about how you react to things. Yeah. I've had to do that in my own personal relationship. You know what I mean? I have had not so good relationships over the past 10 years. Some abusive, I've been cheated on, and it's just, for me, I always go to that defense mode. Yeah. Like if I feel like I'm being attacked by my partner, or if he's not really understanding where I'm coming from, like I'll just react like so quickly and impulsively and not think of my words. And that is something in this relationship that it's really forced me to do, is not react so quickly or jump to conclusions and really, think about what I'm going to say or how I'm going to react to this, or, not everybody's a bad person, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I've had to really watch myself with that.
Nice. That's good. Yeah. So before we ask the last question, I always like to ask, what's one skill that you just highly recommend for somebody to pick up with all your experience, everything that you've learned, and then what's like one game-changing book that you recommend?
Okay, so one skill, like when it comes to business or just anything?
Anything, yeah.
Let me see. Well, I'll talk about the book. So High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. I love. It's a great book. I really feel like it's been instrumental for me because, like I said, I will get distracted. So I've really learned to watch my habits and really create those high performance habits. Nice. And I think his book is fantastic. As far as skill, you know what? Let me think here. What kind of skill? Maybe coming back to like the human skill of just like, you know, even just taking that story, being able to not react, but just really sit back and understand where someone's coming from, because we'll get so worked up with that reaction and it might not even be a great reaction. And so to really sit back and just learn to be very empathetic to someone else, I feel like can be a great skill. You know, it's helped me in my relationships. I feel like, you know, especially when it comes to relationships with friends, with people, with family, it's so important. And I think the more that we work on ourselves, the more our relationships will flourish.
Yeah.
You know, have you guys ever seen The War Room?
No, I've never seen that.
Familiar.
It's a Christian-based movie, but it's not like a religious movie or anything. But it's an amazing movie because it was about a married couple, and they were having some problems, and he was like thinking about cheating, you know, and the whole premise of the whole movie was really, she sat back, she knew that this was happening, and she actually just, her war room was her closet, which was actually a prayer room.
Oh, wow.
And she prayed for him. You know, she prayed for her family, she prayed for him, she worked on herself. She didn't react a certain way. You know, the more you work on yourself, everything else around you gets better, right? Because you learn how to respond better. We learn how to treat people better. Because we're really within ourselves and understanding that. So it's a great movie. So amazing. I don't know if I would have reacted that way. If you think about cheating, you're leaving. Like, I'm kicking you out. I'm like throwing like, I'm like reacting like not good at all, right?
You're like, bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. Right. So, but yeah, that was a really good movie. But yeah, I think that could be a great skill to be learned. Yeah, it's just really working on yourself is super important.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we're always a constant work in progress. So that's good.
Yeah.
So Felicia, this has been great having you again on the podcast for the second time. I feel like there's going to be like a third or fourth time.
I know, right?
But yeah, I feel like we could just sit here and just talk to you for days.
I know.
I'm really happy, you know, for everything that's just, you know, everything you got going on in your life. You know, congratulations on, you know, your engagement.
Thank you.
When's the big day?
So we're planning it. We want to get married at our home.
Okay.
So our lot is pretty big. So we're like, you know what, let's just have it with all our close friends and family in our backyard. Awesome. So the house will be done in November. So we're thinking April 4th as our wedding date. So that's next year.
Perfect. Nice. Okay. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed our conversation about how you said that you took a step back and just kind of just, you know, slow down a little bit. And I think that's huge. It's a really good, listen, it's a great point for the listeners, and I hope they take that really into consideration, that sometimes you need to slow down and just be aware of what's going on.
Absolutely.
So, and then other than that, you know, I wish you just nothing but success going forward.
Thank you guys for having me on.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
So the last question,
yes,
as we always ask, what is your definition of living a dynamic lifestyle?
My definition of living a dynamic lifestyle, I definitely, you know, living a life where you're living by your own rules, not by someone else's rules, where you enjoy what you're doing each and every day, because I feel like what kind of life is it when you're going to work and you're not enjoying your life, right? And you are surrounded by people that you love, because I feel like human connection is the best thing that we can have. And so, let's do that.
Love it.
Love that.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything we can do, or our listeners, to support you? That you have anything going on right now, or?
No, I mean, I'm coming out with business coaching. I'm actually launching it this Friday at GSDCon. So it's amazing because I've been working on my, you know, because I know it's a process. So now, because my audience is mainly that end consumer. My audience is mainly that woman, the Heather that I was talking about. So she might not need business coaching, you know what I mean? So I'm really starting to really push into creating that audience and talking to those people and creating a program. So
great. And how can people find out about that?
Yeah, my website, FeliciaRomero.com,
Awesome.
Instagram at Felicia Romero. Always, you know, have all the information on there as well, because I've been able to really build a successful online business all online. So no time spent as far as that one-on-one time. So really getting that trainer who is so used to trade time for money. And I know I was in that space. I was living that, you know, trainer lifestyle. Nothing wrong with it. I did it for 15 years where I woke up at 5 in the morning, had my morning clients till 11, break, back at 3 to 7, you know, trainer schedule. And I did that for so long, but there's only so many hours in the day.
Absolutely.
You know, so, okay, how could I smarten up a bit and how could I use my time more efficiently? So it's really that person that wants to get out of that space, that one-on-one space, really start to, you know, create that online space for themselves and to create residual as well with courses or the webinars, the courses, and all of that.
Yeah.
So,
Amazing.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll have that all linked up in the show notes, guys. Once again, go follow Felicia. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Truly appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
guys.
you, Felicia.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
Until the
Bye,
next one,
Felicia.
guys.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you guys want more access to podcast interviews and videos just like this, make sure to click the link below so you guys can check out all the other episodes that we have. Also, if you're a personal trainer, a gym owner, or a fitness professional, and you're looking to take your business online, make sure to check out the link below and join our Online Fitness Coaches Personal Mentorship Program. In this program, we actually have 2 live trainings. The first live training is with Eric and I, and we actually teach you guys about sales, marketing, persuasion, social media, how to be a better online fitness coach. And the second live training is with an expert that teaches you stuff just like that, what I just mentioned. Okay, so if you guys are interested in that and also creating more income, influence, and impact and taking your business online, make sure to check out our Online Fitness Coaches Personal Mentorship Program. We'll see you on the inside.